Since 1955, the National Museum of Racing has recognized and honored the achievements of those horses, jockeys, trainers, and pillars of the turf whose records and reputations have withstood the test of time in the great sport of thoroughbred racing. This class is no exception, as the achievements and legacies of these racing legends have proved to be essential to the sport's rich history. Welcome to the 2026 National Museum of Racing's Hall of Fame induction ceremony. And now, please welcome our Master of Ceremonies, the iconic Eclipse Award-winning broadcaster and horsewoman, Chelsea Canty.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for being here. Thank you for that warm welcome, and welcome to the 2026 National Museum of Racing Hall of Fame induction ceremony. And I've got to say, it is a great honor to stand here amongst all this greatness. It made me think about the last time I stood here. It was a couple of decades ago, and thanks to the late, very great Ed Bowen, he convinced me to give the keynote speech that day. So it was 2002, it was the year of Cigar and Serena's song. Bob and Beverly Lewis were sitting right there. Wayne Lucas was sitting right there, and I looked around the crowd, and I asked a rhetorical question. I said, what if God or the powers that be had forgotten to create the horse? What if there were no horses? Who would we be? What would we have done? How would we even begin to think of getting along? But thankfully, the horse got created, the magnificent horses are ours, and we're here today to celebrate them and all of their people. Now, to do that, get started, I introduce Kate Masterson. Oh, there you are. You snuck up behind me. Director of the Hall of Fame.
Good morning, and welcome to the National Museum of Racing's Hall of Fame ceremony. We are pleased to induct 11 new members today. For those of you who have not been in the museum yet this season, we hope you will visit. We are proud to highlight 2 new exhibitions, A Discerning Eye, The Art of Sir Alfred Munnings in the Von Stade Gallery, and Capturing and Preserving Greatness, A Life's Passion, the photography and historic collections of Barbara D. Livingston in our Peter McBean Gallery. We recently debuted the Equine Eyes exhibition demonstrating how horses see. Please stop during our Saturday morning socials to experience it. We have exciting plans for 2027 with the renovation of 2 new galleries. Please follow us year-round on our website and social media to stay on top of the latest news. Congratulations to this year's inductees. I will now turn it over to the Hall of Fame and Communications Director, Brian Bouye.
Good morning, everybody. Great to see you all out here on such a glorious day for racing in Saratoga. One of the coolest things about this job is every year I get to welcome back the Hall of Famers, the legends of the sport that are here with us today, and I'm really looking forward to welcoming this group. We're going to start with ladies first, so we're going to go with Janet Elliott. Janet, if you could stand up and be recognized for just a second here. Janet was the second woman to be inducted into the Hall of Fame and the first as a trainer. Janet twice led all steeplechase trainers in earnings and retired 4th all-time in the category. Her many stakes highlights included 6 wins in the Colonial Cup and 5 in the Grand National. Her top horses included Eclipse Award winners Correggio and Flat Top. From the class of 2009, Janet Elliott. Stella Thayer. One of the sport's most dedicated leaders, Stella has been owner and president of Tampa Bay Downs since 1986, helping develop the track into the one most fan-friendly in the sport. She has served racing with distinction in numerous roles and institutions, including the Jockey Club and the National Museum of Racing and Hall of Fame. Stella became the first woman elected president in the museum's history in 2005 and served in the role until 2014. Tampa Bay Downs this year celebrated 100 years of racing. From the class of 2023, Pillar of the Turf, Stella Thayer. Sugar McGahee. Winner of the Eclipse Award in 1988, Sugar has won more than 2,400 races in his career with purse earnings of more than $182 million. He has won both the Derby and the Belmont, as well as 9 Breeders' Cup races. His top horses include Hall of Famers Easy Goer, Personal Ensign, Inside Information, and Heavenly Prize. From the class of 2004, Sugar McGahee. Roger Atfield. A Hall of Fame member in both the United States and Canada, Roger won a record 22 Canadian Triple Crown races and 8 Sovereign Awards for Outstanding Trainer. He trained 3 Canadian Triple Crown winners and 6 Canadian Horse of the Year honorees. Roger retired earlier this year with 2,038 wins. From the class of 2012, Roger Atfield. Angel Cordero Jr. A winner of 7,057 races, 2 Eclipse Awards, 5 Triple Crown races, and 4 Breeders' Cup races. Angel also won a record 14 riding titles across the street. He won so many they named the award for him after it. Some of the legendary mounts included Hall of Famers Seattle Slew, Slew of Gold, Open Mind, Manila, Weah, and one from this year, 2026 inductee Gulch. From the class of 1988, the King of Saratoga, Angel Cordero Jr. Todd Pletcher. If you guys didn't see last Saturday, Todd won 5 races to equal a record he already shared. And maybe it'll happen today, but he is 1 win away from 6,000 for his career. Todd has won a record 8 Eclipse Awards and is the sport's all-time leader in purse earnings with more than $525 million. He's won 6 races in the Triple Crown Series, 16 Breeders' Cup races. From the class of 2021, Todd Pletcher. Alex Solis is with us today. Alex won 5,035 races in his career, including the 1986 Preakness and 3 Breeders' Cup races. One of his Breeders' Cup wins was with 2026 inductee Kona Gold, who Alex rode to all 14 of his career victories. Alex had purse earnings of more than $238 million in his career and won 326 graded stakes. From the class of 2014, Alex Solis. Jacinto Vasquez is with us here today. Jacinto won 5,231 races in his career, including the Kentucky Derby with Foolish Pleasure and Genuine Risk. His other top mounts included Hall of Famers Ruffian, Forgo, Princess Rooney, and Manila. At the time of his retirement, he ranked 15th all-time in wins. From the class of 1998, Jacinto Vasquez. Sandy Hawley. A winner of 6,450 races, the Eclipse Award, the Sovereign Award, and a Hall of Fame member in both the United States and Canada, Sandy led all North American jockeys and wins 4 times and was the first jockey to win 500 races in a single year. He won 12 races in the Canadian Triple Crown Series and 40 riding titles at Canadian tracks. He won 7 races on a single card at Woodbine and had 2 6-win days at Santa Anita. From the class of 1992, Sandy Hawley. Bill Mott. A winner of more than 5,600 races with purse earnings of more than $377 million, Bill has won 5 Eclipse Awards, and he is the reigning winner from 2025. He's won the Kentucky Derby and the Belmont twice each, 16 Breeders' Cup races, and his top horses have included Hall of Famers Cigar and Royal Delta, and Horses of the Year, Cody's Wish and Sovereignty. From the class of 1998, Bill Mott. Javier Castellano. After 2 wins yesterday, Javier is also closing in on 6,000 races. I think he needs 6 more. You're almost there, maybe by the weekend. Javier is a 4-time Eclipse Award winner. He won those in 4 consecutive years. He ranks second all-time in purse earnings with more than $419 million. He's won the Kentucky Derby, the Belmont, and 2 editions of the Preakness, as well as 12 Breeders' Cup wins and a record 7 editions of the Travers Stakes. From the class of 2017, Javier Castellano. Nick Zito. Nick has won more than 2,000 races in his career, including the Kentucky Derby twice, the Belmont twice, and the Preakness once. He's also won 2 Breeders' Cup races, 2 editions of the Whitney, the Travers, Kentucky Oaks, Florida Derby, and Jockey Club Gold Cup, among others. From the class of 2005, Nick Zito. Ramon Dominguez. Ramon won 4,985 races in his career, 3 consecutive Eclipse Awards, 3 Breeders' Cup races, and he owns the record at Saratoga with 68 wins in a single meet. He won 160 graded races in his career and tied records with 6 wins on a card at both Saratoga and Belmont. From the class of 2016, Ramon Dominguez. Jack Fisher. A 15-time national leader in steeplechase wins and 11-time leader in earnings, Jack was the first trainer in steeplechase history to have purse earnings of more than $1 million in a year, something he has done 8 times. His top horses have included Hall of Famer Goodnight Shirt and fellow millionaire earner Snap Decision. He is again leading the NSA in standings in 2026, and just a couple days ago, right here at Saratoga, he won the Grade 1 AP Smithwick. From the class of 2021, Jack Fisher. Chris McCarron. A winner of 7,141 races, Chris is a 2-time Eclipse Award winner whose resume includes 2 wins in each of the Triple Crown races and 9 Breeders' Cup events. His top mounts included Hall of Famers Ali Sheba, Tisnow, Passiena, John Henry, Pizhishnist, and Sunday Silence. From the class of 1989, Chris McCarron. And last, certainly not least, Braulio Baeza is with us today. Braulio won 3,140 races in North America and more than 4,000 overall. He won 2 Eclipse Awards, the Kentucky Derby, and 3 editions of the Belmont Stakes. He rode 9 Hall of Famers in his career: Buck Passer, Dr. Fager, Arts and Letters, Susan's Girl, Ack, Foolish Pleasure, Affectionately, Damascus, and Gallant Bloom. Braulio Baeza was inducted into the Hall of Fame in 1976. This is the 50th anniversary of him being in the Hall of Fame. Braulio Baeza. One more big round of applause for our Hall of Famers. Thank you guys for being here today.
Those of you who know me well know I'm easily distracted, so could we please be sure everyone has their phones on silent, just to be sure. So now we begin the inductees. We start with Historic Review champion Gulch. You talk about a colt with amazing versatility, durability, longevity. The video will speak for itself.
Determined, durable, and blessed with speed he could extend beyond that of a typical sprinter, Gulch didn't waste any time becoming a fan favorite and serving notice he was going to be a standout on the racetrack. Making his career debut on June 2, 1986, Gulch demonstrated his precocity with a dominant 7 3/4 length victory going 5 furlongs at Belmont Park. 4 more victories in New York followed: the Tremont at Belmont, the Saratoga Special and Hopeful at Saratoga Racecourse, and the Futurity back at Belmont, proving Peter Brandt's homebred had the makings of a special racehorse. The Kentucky-bred Gulch, a son of Mr. Prospector out of the multiple Grade 1 winning rambunctious mare Jamila, went on to win 11 graded stakes, earned an Eclipse Award, and closed out his career with a memorable victory in the 1988 Breeders' Cup Sprint. Competing from 1986 through 1988, the Bay Colt posted a record of 13 wins, 8 seconds, and 3/3 from 32 starts, with earnings of more than $3 million. He won multiple Grade 1 races each year of his career, ranging in distances from 6 furlongs to 1 1/8. 7 of his wins were in Grade 1 events. Trained by Hall of Famers Leroy Jolly at ages 2 and 3 and D. Wayne Lucas at age 4, Gulch was voted the Eclipse Award for Champion Sprinter in 1988. After winning 4 graded stakes as a juvenile, Gulch won the Bay Shore and Wood Memorial before finishing 6th in the 1987 Kentucky Derby, 4th in the Preakness, and 3rd in the Belmont. Between the Preakness and Belmont, he achieved his signature victory as a 3-year-old, winning the Metropolitan Handicap. During his championship season in 1988, Gulch won the Breeders' Cup Sprint, repeated in the Metropolitan Handicap, and won the Carter Handicap. He was never out of the money in 11 starts that year. With his second victory in the Met Mile, Gulch became only the 6th horse to win the race multiple times, joining Hall of Famers Devil Diver, Equipoise, Forgo, and Stymie, as well as standout Mad Hatter. Gulch is the only horse to win the race at age 3 and repeat the following year. In his final career start, Gulch rallied from off the pace to win the 1988 Breeders' Cup Sprint on a sloppy track at Churchill Downs against a star-studded 13-horse field. Gulch, ridden by Hall of Famer Angel Cordero Jr., came out between horses entering the stretch, loomed boldly near the 8th pole, and then kicked past Play the King to win by 1 3/4 lengths.
Gulch emerging with the lead. Play the King. It's Gulch. Play the King. Here's the wire. And Gulch has won it.
Retired after his Breeders' Cup victory, Gulch stood at stud at Lane's Inn Farm near Versailles, Kentucky. He sired 680 winners, including 72 stakes winners. Gulch ranked number 2 on the General Sire list in 1995 and was 7th in 2002. His top progeny included champion Thunder Gulch, winner of the Kentucky Derby, Belmont, and Travers in 1995. Eagle Cafe, winner of the Japan Dirt Cup and earner of more than $4 million. Court Vision, winner of the Breeders' Cup Mile. Naif, winner of Group 1 races in England and Dubai. Walinda, winner of 4 graded stakes, and multiple graded stakes winner, the Cliff's Edge. Following his stallion career, Gulch was retired to old friends in Georgetown, Kentucky, where he lived from 2009 through 2016. He was the farm's oldest resident at the time of his death at the age of 32 on January 17, 2016.
Gulch redefined the of hard knocking in everything he did. Owner breeder Peter Brandt. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Ms. Coates.
Thank you very much. It's a great honor to be here today with you and to receive this wonderful honor for the horse Gulch. He was a very, very special horse for me and was a great teacher for me of what you could expect in a great racehorse, taking you through so many great events and exciting wins and exciting defeats. He was truly a great horse. He ran 32 times as old as he lived, and he was just so special. He was not a horse that you ever would think needed time. He just was there at the beginning, and he was there at the end, and everybody around him from the beginning were the right people. He was bred by yours truly, and he was raised at Claiborne Farm, and then broke at White Birch Farm, and then went to Payson Park to have Leroy Jolly train him in his 2- and 3-year-old year, and then Wayne Lucas at 4. I'd just like to say that his mare that he was out of, Jamila, was a Maryland bred and a beautiful mare, and she ran 53 times. And so she won 3 Group 1s, and she's buried at my farm. I mean, she was a great mare, and I just thought I should mention her. And then, of course, her sire, Mr. Prospector, who stood at Claiborne Farm and was a very, very influential sire to our breed. I want to give special thanks to the guy who broke her at White Birch Farm. Peter Fugate spent a lot of time, broke the horse the right way, and delivered him in one piece to Payson Park. I also would like to give special thanks to Angel Cordero, my friend, who was always loyal to this horse and could have gotten off of him many times when he didn't. And, it was a very special relationship, and I wanted to thank him, and of course Wayne. And this horse won his first stake over 40 years ago, so a lot of the people that were associated with him are no longer with us. I thank you very much for the honor, and it's my pleasure.
Okay. Next. Also in the historic review is Mongo. Marion DuPont Scott was a very, very impactful on the flat, over jumps, in this country and abroad. And she had many wonderful champions, great horses, but I think one of the prettiest she ever had is Mongo.
One of the most talented, consistent, and versatile racehorses of his era, Mongo always turned heads. Daily Racing Forum's Charles Hatton said the Virginia-bred chestnut colt was at once a most attractive individual, perhaps the handsomest in training, and as correctly constructed as the most fastidious could wish. Bred and owned by Marion DuPont Scott, Mongo raced from 1961 through 1964 with a record of 22 wins, 10 seconds, and 4/3 from 46 starts, and earnings of $820,766. Trained by Frank Bonsall, Mongo was voted champion male turf horse in 1963. He won a total of 16 stakes races, including the prestigious Washington, D.C. International, and 2 editions of both the United Nations Handicap and Trenton Handicap. Mongo won races at 9 different tracks: Aqueduct, Atlantic City, Bowie, Delaware, Garden State, Hialeah, Laurel, Monmouth, and Pimlico, and defeated Hall of Famers Carryback, Gunbow, and Kelso twice each. An impressive pedigree predicted success for Mongo. His sire, Royal Charger, was a prominent stallion and a son of the great Niarco, one of the most prolific racehorses and stallions of the 20th century. Mongo was out of Accra, DuPont Scott's foundation mare. Accra produced 10 winners from 11 foals, including 6 stakes winners. Mongo is the second son of Accra to be elected to the Hall of Fame, joining steeplechase legend Neji, a 1966 inductee. Mongo made his career debut in a 5-furlong maiden special weight contest at Pimlico on May 18, 1961. He was easily the best in the 6-horse field, romping by 10 lengths. Mongo's juvenile campaign, however, didn't have much more in the way of highlights, with only 2 wins from 8 starts. As a 3-year-old in 1962, Mongo won his first 2 starts against Allowance Company at Laurel in April. After finishing second at Delaware Park in June, Mongo won his next 3, including his first turf race, the Vintner Handicap at Atlantic City, by 10 lengths. With Charlie Burr as his regular rider, Mongo emerged during the second half of his sophomore season, winning the Lexington Handicap at Aqueduct, defeating TV Lark in the United Nations Handicap at Atlantic City, and besting Carryback by a nose in the Trenton Handicap at Garden State. Mongo had demonstrated his abilities on both dirt and turf and had won from 6 furlongs to 1.25 miles. Mongo returned as a 4-year-old in 1963 and proved himself to be one of the best horses in the country and a champion. His victories included the Bowie Handicap and a repeat in the United Nations at Atlantic City, in which he defeated Carryback and Never Bend. Mongo concluded his prolific season in November with a thrilling half-length win over Horse of the Year Kelso at equal weight in the DC International at Laurel before a crowd of 36,653 to secure the title for champion male turf horse. The Blood Horse headline after the DC International read, "Mongo grabs global glory." Returning at age 5 in 1964, Mongo won the John B. Campbell Handicap at Bowie, defeating Gunbow, the Monmouth Handicap defeating Kelso and Gunbow, the Widener Handicap at Hialeah, and closed out his career with a second victory and a track record in the Trenton Handicap at Garden State. His time of 2 minutes flat for 1.25 miles in the Trenton bested the previous track mark by a full second. Mongo ranked 11th all-time in career earnings when he was retired to stud. Mongo went on to sire 168 winners as a stallion, including 21 stakes winners. Mongo died at age 24 on March 21, 1983, at Blue Ridge Farm in Virginia.
And here to accept on behalf of her great aunt is Caroline Cardet, and this handsome young gentleman is Hayes. Congratulations.
Thank you. Good morning. My name is Caroline Cardet, and this is Hayes Cardet, and Marion DuPont Scott was my great-grand aunt. I am honored to be here to accept this award in her memory. To the 2026 Hall of Fame inductees, both two-legged and four-legged, many congratulations and well done. To the National Museum of Racing, thank you for recognizing Marion's horse, Mongo. Marion was a true horsewoman and a lady ahead of her time. Her sharp eye missed nothing while assessing each horse for excellent conformation. Some of the requirements she looked for were a good depth of the shoulder, flat knees, and big hocks close to the ground. Regarding a horse's head, Marion felt that, quote, the worst thing is to have a narrow-headed horse. It denotes there's not too much brain up there. Marion took great pride in her breeding knowledge, and she had high standards for her pairings. Mongo developing into a dual-surface talent is proof of her abilities. Valuing soundness and doubling up on quality genetics were some of the cornerstones of her breeding philosophies. Marion also understood the issues associated with producing race-worthy horses. She once remarked, quote, "No one can ever be sure of anything when it comes to breeding racehorses. Breeding is a very iffy sort of thing. Good management is the important thing. Horses turn out well because they've been brought up well. That is, after sound mares have been bred to sound stallions." Most importantly, Marion would want me to give credit to the many dedicated grooms, jockeys, farriers, trainers, and farm managers. Without their long hours of hard work and loyalty over the years, Marion would not have had the breeding and racing success she achieved. She had a deep respect and appreciation for all the individuals at Montpelier. Once again, thank you to the National Museum of Racing for organizing this special event, creating that lovely video, and for remembering Mongo. In a letter regarding Mongo, Marion once wrote, quote, "This is one of the biggest thrills of my life, my 3-year-old beating all those good horses from all over the country. It surely was marvelous." There's no doubt that Marion would be proud for Mongo to be added to the National Racing Hall of Fame. Thank you.
Congratulations. Next up in the historic review is trainer David Whiteley. I had the good fortune to work in both Whiteley barns for a long time, and I can vouch firsthand for the meticulous attention to individual detail that David had on every single horse in his barn. The numbers will speak for themselves.
Racehorses from one of the best to ever master the craft, his father, Hall of Fame trainer Frank Whiteley Jr. After spending some time as his dad's assistant, the younger Whiteley went out on his own, applied the lessons he had learned, and established himself as an elite conditioner on his own merits. Born in 1944 in Easton, Maryland, Whiteley apprenticed with his father before beginning his own training career in 1970. He went on to condition 3 champions, Revadier, Weah, and Just a Game, and won the 1979 Belmont Stakes with Coastal, denying Spectacular Bid the Triple Crown. With a relatively small stable, Whiteley won 454 races between 1970 and 1995, making trips to the winner's circle an impressive 22% of the time. Whiteley played the game at the top level, as 62 of his wins were in black-type races, including 45 graded stakes. Whiteley's first significant horse was Revadier, the Eclipse Award winner for Champion 3-year-old filly in 1976. Bred by Claiborne Farm and owned by William Hagen Perry, Revadier was unraced as a juvenile, then won 8 of 10 starts as a 3-year-old. She began her career under Whiteley's training with 7 consecutive victories, including 4 graded stakes. After suffering her first loss, Revadier bounced back to win the inaugural Ruffian Stakes in October 1976. Her victory in the Ruffian was a memorable moment for Whiteley, whose father trained the race's namesake. Revadier delivered an epic performance in the contest, defeating the Argentine-bred Bastonera by 14 lengths. Whiteley took over the training of the French-bred standout Weah for owners Peter Brandt and George Strawbridge Jr. in 1979. As a 5-year-old that year, Weah was voted the Eclipse Award for Champion Older Mare. Her victories included the Santa Ana Handicap and Santa Barbara Handicap at Santa Anita Park, the Top Flight at Aqueduct, and the Saratoga Springs Cup and Belle Dame at Belmont Park. Weah carried top weight multiple times, including 131 pounds in the Santa Barbara. She was inducted into the Hall of Fame in 2019. Whiteley enjoyed his best year as a trainer in 1979, winning 34 races from 91 starts, a 37% clip. He notched 13 graded wins that year. Along with Weah, Whiteley won graded races that year with Clef d'Argent, Coastal, French Colonial, Instrument Landing, and Tiller. After a pair of allowance wins in June 1979 at Aqueduct, Whiteley entered Coastal in the Peter Pan Stakes at Belmont, which he won by 13 lengths in stakes record time of 1:47 flat for 1 1/8 miles. The Peter Pan win prompted Whiteley to enter Coastal in the Belmont Stakes and take on Spectacular Bid, who had won the first 2 legs of the Triple Crown and was riding a 12-race win streak. The gamble paid off as Coastal shocked the crowd of more than 59,000 and defeated Golden Act by 3 1/4 lengths. The heavily favored Spectacular Bid finished 3rd. Coastal won 2 more races that summer, the Dwyer and Monmouth Invitational Handicap, to extend his win streak to 6 before placing in the Marlboro Cup, Woodward, and Jockey Club Gold Cup to end his season. Another standout from the Whiteley barn took center stage in 1980 when Just a Game was voted the Eclipse Award for Champion Turf Female thanks to a 7-race win streak that included 4 graded stakes. Whiteley continued to have success into the 1980s with horses such as Highland Blade, who won Grade 1s on both dirt and turf and earned just shy of $1 million. He defeated Hall of Famer Slew of Gold, Kentucky Derby winner Gato del Sol, and Preakness winner Deputed Testimony in the 1983 Marlboro Cup at Belmont. Regal Flyer became Whiteley's 21st and final graded stakes winner when he scored in the 1987 Appleton Handicap at Gulfstream Park. Whiteley retired in 1995. He died at his home in South Carolina in 2017 at the age of 73.
And here to accept David's plaque is his daughter, Kyle Whiteley Schumann, and Kyle's mother, Sharon Austin Whiteley.
Good morning. That video was tough for me to watch. It brought back so many memories. I'm beyond thrilled that this moment has finally arrived. Sorry. Fortunately, I handicapped this event with a lot of waterproof mascara. Unfortunately, it does not come with a tear blocker, so I may have to lean on my notes heavily. So I apologize for that, but thank you. I see so many familiar faces here today, so many that we've had so many good times with, and memories that I couldn't even count if I had to. For those who don't know me, I'm David's ex-wife. They invited me anyway. I'm happy to have this opportunity to speak more about him because he would not. He would have loved being here. He would have loved seeing all of you. I'm sorry. I know he would have started by thanking all of those who supported him along his journey in this crazy business that everybody seems to be involved in here. And he'd close with a huge nod to his dad, Kyle's papa, Mr. Whiteley, to those who were unofficially required to address him or risk one of those famously glaring stares or brief responses. If they were both here, we'd see a proud dad over the moon that his son, was joining him in this elite club of trainers today. But give them 5 minutes alone on their way back to the barn, and I guarantee you they'd have something to argue about. I met David in 1978 at an Hialeah event in Florida. And let me just say, you racetrackers sure know how to have a good time. That was our unofficial first date. We had a long distance relationship as I lived in Boston and he lived wherever the horses were. Letters, phone calls, and lots of miles on my little red Mustang. He signed his letters the same way every time, and I still have them. Work hard, love, DAW. 3 initials and 3 words. Not exactly Shakespeare, but I got the message. When I moved to New York in 1983, I had a front row seat to this work ethic. I was in awe of him and all of you, an entire industry, who happily woke up without an alarm clock before the crack of dawn to run to the racetrack and do your job, all for the love of thoroughbred horse racing. Years earlier, a backstretch publication had joked or quipped or noted, "Next thing you know, David Whiteley will be getting married." Well, in 1986, that next thing actually did happen. I had no idea that it was a long shot for him to cross that wire. Our daughter Kyle was born very prematurely in 1987. She weighed 1 pound 13 ounces. She's a lot bigger today. And she lived in the NICU for the first 6 months of her life. Years later, the media guide asked David what his best moment had been. And I quote, "When Kyle was taken off oxygen, and I knew she was going to make it. That was the highlight of my entire life. He loved his sport wholeheartedly. His answer about Kyle tells you the rest of his story. Before we hear from Kyle, I would like to recognize John Veach. He and David were the best of friends since they were in prep school together when they were youngsters. You rarely heard of one mentioned without the other. Asked if David belonged in the Hall of Fame, John said yes. He was a great horseman. That, of course, is the highest compliment any trainer will ever receive. Bravo, David. Well done. And now I'd like to introduce our daughter, Kyle Whiteley Schumann.
I would like to start by thanking the National Museum of Racing and Hall of Fame for recognizing my father's accomplishments. I am certain he would have been pleased to receive such an honor. I was lucky enough to watch the sun rise from the shed rows of barns in New York, Florida, and South Carolina. It was during these dreadfully early mornings that I became acquainted with the parts of my father I recall with bittersweet fondness. This simple act of quiet observation informed my father when an unsure yearling needed gentle encouragement. The quiet communication of his horses seemed to speak to him in stereo, and their needs were always more than met. I spent time with him in the way he knew how to spend it best, working. I washed tack, fed horses, and mucked stalls for shopping money. I spent just as much time carrying around eternally patient barn cats, climbing paint-chipped ladders to the top of haylofts, feeding horses way too many carrots, and wondering when we'd break for lunch. As childhood turned me into a teenage tyrant, my father demonstrated the unruffled acceptance I craved. Our long drives from New York to South Carolina, he listened to whatever musical artist I was obsessing over at that moment. Whether it was the Backstreet Boys or Good Charlotte, he learned all the words, sang horribly out of tune right alongside me, and turned up the volume almost as loud as I wanted. Those teenage years were full of moments where I was not always my best self. My father never let me think for a minute that who I was in those moments made me any less lovable. Instead, he showed me how to always lead with compassion. The legacy my father leaves behind is the eclectic array of attributes he gave me. A deep-rooted passion for animals was a given. My father was attuned with his horses, and the closeness he had with them was palpable. The welfare of the animals in his charge was a cornerstone of his success. Like the journey of every horseman, my path in the sport of purebred dogs has been marked by immense heartache, unbridled joy, and success. I've been lucky enough to have the best mentors, my father and my grandfather. This way of being in the world with animals the way that they were, we call this the Whiteley way. Thank you.
In keeping with this poignant vein we have right now, this has been a tough year for trainers. And as we all know, John Sheriff's left us way too suddenly and way too soon. But here was a man who was able to bring renewed joy to thoroughbred racing with one filly.
Born in Fort Leavenworth, Kansas, John Alexander Sheriffs spent his childhood going between the family's home on Long Island, New York, and their farm in Newfields, New Hampshire, where he grew up around horses and racing. After graduating from high school in 1964, Sheriffs joined the United States Marine Corps, completed a tour in Vietnam, and then aspired to become a surfer in Hawaii. That ambition went by the wayside during a stop in California, where he worked on a cattle farm and learned horsemanship and training at the Loma Rica Horse Ranch. He later got a job as a hot walker for trainer Gene Cleveland and broke yearlings at Lakeview Thoroughbred Farm. Sheriffs took out his trainer's license in 1976. His first starter was a California-bred colt named Pee Wee Painter, who became his first winner that July. Sheriffs maintained his public stable until 1984, when he became an assistant to trainers Bill Spar and Brian Mayberry, before becoming the private trainer for Ed Nahum and Marshall Nafee's 505 Farms in 1994. For that ownership group, he conditioned Bertrando, who gave Sheriffs his first graded stakes win in the 1994 Goodwood Handicap at Santa Anita Park. After Nafee's death in April 2000, Sheriffs was down to a few horses and no major clients when he met Dottie Ingordo, the racing manager for Jerry and Ann Moss. In need of a trainer for the Mosses, Ingordo met with Sheriffs, recommended him to her bosses, and then 3 years later, married the trainer. In 2005, Sheriffs brought the Mosses' Giacomo to Churchill Downs for the 131st Kentucky Derby. With Hall of Fame jockey Mike Smith in the saddle, the 50-1 long shot deftly wove through traffic to turn his late-running prowess into a half-length victory. The Mosses, Smith, and Sheriffs would all reunite a few years later with the great Zenyatta. Purchased for $60,000 by Dottie's son, David Ingordo, Zenyatta got her name from the Police's 1980 album, Zenyatta Mondata, continuing the Mosses' tradition of naming horses for their musical connections. Topping out at 17.1 hands, the daughter of Street Cry needed the right conditioner, one with the patience and experience necessary to handle the challenges the oversized filly presented. Under Sheriff's tutelage, Zenyatta won 19 consecutive races. Her remarkable streak featured 13 Grade 1 victories, including multiple editions of the Apple Blossom, Vanity, Lady's Secret, and Clement L. Hirsch. She twice won Breeders' Cup races, the Ladies' Classic in 2008 at Churchill Downs, and the 2009 Classic at Santa Anita. In 2009, Sheriffs also won the Ladies' Classic with Life is Sweet, becoming the first trainer to win both classics in the same year. Zenyatta's remarkable achievements earned her a spot in the Hall of Fame, a legion of fans, and put Sheriffs on the national stage, showcasing his horsemanship and generosity. Sheriffs carried that approach forward with Santa Anita Derby winners Tiago, Gormley, and Honor AP, Santa Anita Handicap winner Express Train, and Pennsylvania Derby winner Baeza, among others. Overall, Sheriffs won 113 graded stakes and had purse earnings of more than $58 million. He died at the age of 80 on February 12, 2026. After his passing, Smith described Sheriffs as a giant and one of racing's greatest horsemen and a great man.
And coming to the podium is Dottie Sheriffs.
Thank you. He's here. And always will be. Hello, everyone. They just introduced me. I'm John's wife, Dottie Ingordo Sheriffs. It is a complete honor to be here today and to be in this building, because we'll be here Monday night, but to be in the building down the street. John so cherished the history of this sport and all the pillars of the turf, the historic horses. He absolutely loved it.
He would read about everything voraciously. He'd study it. Braulio worked for him one summer when we were here. He just wanted him around to hear all the fun stories. And he would always, Brian commented, he'd go to the library at the Hall of Fame, and he'd wonder what happened to John. Well, he was still in there reading everything and taking it all in and everything. He'd do the same thing when we went to Keeneland. He'd study it and take it in and appreciate it. And he so loved all of you, the pillars of the turf, the jockeys, the historic horses. He just craved it, and he had an energy to study it. Our home, his office was a monument to all of you. You don't know how many times I've looked at some of you in books and everything. Mike Penna one time asked him, what would surprise me if we walked into your house? And he said, my Man o' War collection. He had so many fun things with horses and all, and he just loved it. And it took all of you and the foundation that all of you created and your forefathers to get us here to this day, to this moment. And believe me, it would have meant the world and back to him. When he was in college, he worked in the forestry department, and he often heard people make the comment, when you are out, go hug a tree. John would often say, that's a great thought, and I love nature, but how about go out and hug your horse? Feel the beat of its heart. Put your arms around it, and the dynamic quality, the emotion, the strength, the power, and you can just feel it. And that feeling is something he carried with himself throughout his entire career, from a child when he was showing horses and jumping up until the very end. He just loved them. I used to tease him he was even half horse because he loved them so much. In the last few months, obviously, I've been cleaning out things and doing things, and there was a common thread through everything, the cards we sent each other, whether it was a card to him or a card that I gave him or he gave me. There was this thread of common thinking, and it was, lucky us, lucky us, lucky us. How grateful we are for everything. And all of you and every magnificent horse we had the opportunity to be with forever. John was a very bright, fun, witty person. Many of you saw him as being stoic and being kind of quiet, and he stood in the background because it gave him great joy to watch happiness of the people that he had worked with in the winner's circle. One time it was so cute after Zenyatta won a race. One of our favorite memories was watching Mario and Carmen skip down to the winner's circle together. They were a married couple. He was the groom, she was the hot walker. And we went, oh my God, look at these people. And it's just so much fun to watch them and their happiness. John also was very clever and creative. He created certain things for the horse. Tiago had a special bit. Zenny had a special shoe. Some of them he would build a starting gate out of straw at the barn, and the horses would walk through it so they'd have more experience at the gate. He just loved studying them, and he'd spend hours and hours every afternoon. He'd be there trying to study every single horse. If he could find one thing, he'd say to me, that he could change and tweak, it could change the whole future of their life, everything that they would achieve, and he'd try to find that one thing. Brian asked that I also mention personal things. You all know a lot of our story. It's been out there a lot and all. So I thought, okay, let me think of a few fun things. Decades ago, and you didn't know this, but there were 5 people who went to dinner every single Tuesday night at a Mexican restaurant in Santa Monica. It was Bobby Frankel, John Sheriffs, Brian Lynch, Jimmy the Hat Howard, and Frank Lyons. And then once in a while, they'd invite a guest, maybe a jockey, Alex or someone, and or a jocks agent, and they'd have dinner, and they discuss all the things that go on in our industry. You all could have sat back and relaxed and taken life easy because the industry was being taken care of by these guys every Tuesday night at a Mexican restaurant, and you didn't know it. Fast forward, we now have in our family a Tuesday night club. We don't discuss everything about racing, but we solve all the family problems. Second thing is how we met. Now, most of you've heard I met John when we went to interview him to train for the Mosses. So in that interview, he had made a comment, and it always stuck with me. He said, I may take a little time to get them ready and put the foundation in them, but when I do, I want them to go on a roll and have a career. Not stop, start, but have all the tools that they need to go on and be successful. And that was kind of a theme you saw in his life. So we left the meeting. Jerry looked at me, I looked at him. He said, I think this kind of works for us. I said, I agree. Cancel the other meetings we had with trainers, and John was hired. Come that October, we're sitting in the box at Santa Anita, and I looked at Jerry and I said, Jerry, I have a question. He goes, what? I said, well, I have something to talk to you about. He goes, oh my God, what is it? I said, no. It could be good, it could be bad, it's up to you. So I said, you know, John Sheriff's one of your trainer, because we had a couple. He asked me out to dinner. And Jerry looked at me and he started to crack up. He goes, yes. And I said, well, I work for you. I don't want any sense of impropriety. You have other trainers. I don't want any conflicts or anybody feeling uncomfortable. He started laughing. He said, oh my God, Dottie, we want you happy. Go. So I went, and here we all are. So it was interesting because you thought of John as being quiet. No, sometimes yes, sometimes no. One night, I didn't realize David, Jerry Witt, and John were planning a birthday present for me. So we were supposed to go to dinner, just he and I. I said, John, the family's having a barbecue. He loved my family, by the way, very much. And I said, let's just stop in. He goes, well, I kind of wanted just to go to dinner, just us. I said, well, let's just stop in. So we stopped in. Well, we didn't just stop in. We stayed, we ate, we were there. Finally, John realizes, we're not going to dinner. We're not going to be alone. He goes out to the car. He gets this darling little butterfly box, plops it on the table in my sister's house. She looks at it. She realizes what's going to happen. She goes, wait a minute, let me get a camera. She runs and gets the camera, and John proposed in front of everybody. He was either overly confident or I don't know what, but he pulled it off. The beautiful thing is we all got up, they put on music, all the kids, all the couples got up and started dancing. And everybody shared their engagement story. It was beautiful and a memory of a lifetime. Fast forward a few years, oh, John has this big, magnificent filly he's training. She has this quirky little way about her when she moves. And he thought, well, it's intriguing, but I can hear the reporters say, oh, what's she doing? Or the fans, oh, what's that? So what did he create? The dance. And she, Senora, danced her way into all our hearts for how many times? And memory for a lifetime. So the dance became very important. Third thing is everybody kept saying, well, John, you guys are engaged. You gotta get a license. John goes, oh, that's true. You need a license. Even if you don't know how to use it right away, we better get one. So he looked it up on the internet, and by Hollywood Park, the city hall, had licenses. So one day he says to me, okay, we've got our appointment to get a license. I said, okay, great. So we drove over to City Hall. We're there. Curious John looks around. He goes, oh, people are actually getting married here. I said, well, yeah, they do, John. They have appointments. So John's walking around. He's talking to people. And he realizes, he meets this couple. they have an appointment. He has a horse schooling in the 6th race. Oh, what can we do? So he worked it out with them. We got our appointment right before them. They were our witnesses. We got in the car. We drove to Hollywood Park. We schooled the horse. I called David to tell him. He called his mother, who was an angel, by the way, loved her. And we went on, schooled the horse, did the thing. We were going to tell everybody else because it was December 19th. Before, Christmas, we were seeing everybody, so we were going to announce it personally. Well, the next day, the horse that schooled in the 6th race ran. She ran in the Hollywood Starlet, grade 1. Her name was Hollywood Story. And believe me, the life we've had is a Hollywood story. We are beyond grateful to this industry, to every horse that we've ever been around, to every person, everyone who's been so kind and generous to us. It's been amazing. So, one thing we did was watch little movies. John loved movies. His favorite was Walk in the Clouds. If he watched it 1,000,000 times in front of me, I'd have to say it's 1,025,000. He loved Tom Cruise. But then he'd indulge me. In the last few years, we started to watch a few Hallmarks. I used to tease him, who's having dinner tonight or who's coming over tonight? Because some of them were the same people in the same movies, just different context. And we'd laugh about it. And then there were some fun little movies that were in between. So I am going to try to replicate what John did at that moment in his life when he was so proud of Zenny and she won the classic. And he commented to the sports guys and to me, I didn't know what to do. I was so excited. I just wanted to rip my shirt off, but I really couldn't do that in public. So what did I do? Well, you saw it in the video. They were kind enough to put it in. John, this is for you. I hope it do it justice. And to quote Elle Woods in Legally Blonde, one of our silly little movies, congratulations, Hall of Fame class 2026. John and your fellow inductees, you did it. Now here goes. Thank you very much.
Well done. You did it. You did it. That was good.
Well done, well done. Tough day. So we go now to our video for Kona Gold. If there's anything in the world I love, it's a good old tough, hard-hitting gelding. I mean, Forgo and Kelso. And here was a scrappy sprinter from the West Coast who had to keep trying and trying, but here he is today. Kona Gold.
A Kentucky-bred gelding who was based in California, Kona Gold's ultimate weapon was his blistering speed at short distances. With credentials that included an Eclipse Award, a Breeders' Cup victory, track records at both Churchill Downs and Santa Anita, and 10 graded stakes wins, Kona Gold earned a place in history as one of American racing's greatest sprinters. Bred by Carlos Perez, Kona Gold was sold for $35,000 at the 1995 Keeneland September yearling sale. California-based trainer Bruce Headley purchased the base son of Java Gold with partners Irwin and Andrew Molaski. High Tech Stable later joined the ownership group. After finishing second going 6.5 furlongs in his career debut at Hollywood Park on May 31, 1998, Kona Gold broke his maiden with a 15-length romp at 6.5 furlongs in his next outing that July at Del Mar. With future Hall of Fame jockey Alex Solis in the irons, Kona Gold registered a 110 Beyer speed figure in the maiden breaker. It was the first of 17 races in which Kona Gold earned a Beyer of 110 or higher. He won twice more in convincing style that summer at Del Mar, with Solis settling in as his regular rider before ending his campaign third in the Breeders' Cup Sprint at Churchill Downs. Kona Gold won the 1999 El Conejo Handicap at Santa Anita in his 5-year-old debut, setting a track record of 101.74 for 5.5 furlongs. But the remainder of his season proved somewhat frustrating, with 4 consecutive second-place finishes, including a half-length loss to Artax in the Breeders' Cup Sprint at Gulfstream Park. Kona Gold ran a career-best 123 Beyer in the contest, but Artax held on in a thriller, setting a track record of 107.89 for 6 furlongs with a 124 Beyer. Coinciding with the beginning of a new century, Kona Gold found his peak form. As a 6-year-old in 2000, he won 5 of his 6 starts, including graded wins in the Palos Verdes, Potrero Grande Breeders' Cup Handicap, Bing Crosby Breeders' Cup Handicap, Ancient Title Breeders' Cup Handicap, and the Breeders' Cup Sprint. In winning the sprint at Churchill Downs, Kona Gold ran 6 furlongs in a blazing 107.77, breaking the track record that had stood for 14 years.
It's Kona Gold in front, and Kona Gold has won it by a diminishing half a length.
Kona Gold remained in excellent form to begin his 7-year-old season in 2001, as he stretched his win streak to 7 with a victory in the San Carlos Handicap and repeat scores in the Potrero Grande and Bing Crosby. Another championship season, however, was not to be. Kona Gold's win streak ended when he finished second to Swept Overboard in the Ancient Title. He attempted to repeat in the Breeders' Cup Sprint at Belmont Park, but finished 7th. Kona Gold continued to race for 2 more years. He won the Los Angeles Handicap at Hollywood Park in 2002 as an 8-year-old with a 113 Beyer and finished 4th that year in the Breeders' Cup Sprint at Arlington Park. As a 9-year-old in 2003, he won the El Conejo at Santa Anita by a neck on New Year's Day for his 14th and final career victory. Kona Gold was retired later in 2003 with a career record of 14 wins, 7 seconds, and 2/3 from 30 starts, and earnings of almost $2.3 million. Kona Gold was the first horse to run in 5 editions of the Breeders' Cup, making 5 consecutive starts in the sprint from 1998 through 2002. His legacy in California was honored by Santa Anita renaming the Potrero Grande Handicap, which Kona Gold won consecutively in 2000 and 2001 in the champion's honor.
Bruce Headley loved that horse. He would be so proud today, as he would be of his grandson, Berkeley Headley.
Hi. Please excuse my tennis shoes. My flight was delayed, and we've had a 35-hour journey. My girlfriend drove from Raleigh-Durham through the night so that we could be here. That's how much I didn't know I was going to speak. I didn't write anything down, but I wanted to thank a few people. First, my girlfriend, because no matter what was thrown at us, she got us here. The other is Bruce Headley, my dad, the groom, Juan Soto, and the sports writer, Jay Hovde. He fought like hell for Kona to get this award. And I wanted to thank everybody who voted for us and the whole racing community. Like the prior speaker said, what a world you guys have. It's incredible, and I'm so thrilled to be a part of it. Thank you all very much.
My name is Berkeley Headley. I am the grandson of Bruce Headley. Some kids grew up with their parents telling about legends such as Michael Jordan and Hank Aaron. The legend I grew up hearing about was Kona Gold. Throughout his exhilarating career, he won 10 graded stakes, including one at the ripe age of 9, which was not only an example of pure heart and grit from Kona, but also excellent horsemanship from my grandfather, Bruce Headley. If Kona needed a little freshening, my grandfather wouldn't hesitate to turn him out in our backyard for as long as needed. He'd always do what was right for the horse, and Kona Gold would reward him throughout his illustrious career. Before Kona Gold's famous Breeders' Cup win in 2000, my grandfather was asked by the media what he thought of Kona going into the race. He famously said that not only would he win, but that he would break the track record that day. He could not have been more right. Kona went on to win, running a record-breaking 107.77, which my grandfather wore on his hat every single day. My grandfather knew this because not only did he train and own him, but he also galloped him. My grandfather loved stories, if you knew him. So one of my favorite stories about Kona Gold was when he was actually a track pony. He was tied outside, and the workers were going by, and the track is a barn at Delmar's right next to the track. And for one day, it was too much for him. He got loose, and he ran onto the track, running by everyone, outworking everybody like he always did. And the outrider's trying to get him, and this is where my favorite part comes out. An outrider yells, "Jesus Christ, it's Kona Gold." He finished him, but most likely it was 59 and change, pulling up right at the wire, the Headley way. He would return to the barn to cool down. It just truly embodies the heart, intelligence, and love for the game Kona Gold had. Kona Gold, Bruce Headley, Alex Solis, the Molaskis, all were a part of a glorious campaign that will now be recognized in history, one of the Hall of Fame. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Gus Headley, and I'm the son of Bruce Headley. And I appreciate the induction of Kona Gold. It's been a long time coming. And it was a great ride. He was a great horse, and I galloped him I helped break him and gallop him for 8 years. And after he ran second to RTAX, my dad said, "I'm going to show you how to do it." And took over for 4 months and ended up winning the Breeders' Cup, setting records. And my dad was a great horseman, and I appreciate everything he taught me. And I'm training horses in Southern California, and it's one day I think I'm going to be out here because it's shrinking up over there. It's unfortunate. But I'd like to thank everybody for inviting us, and have a great day. Thank you.
I think I may have forgot to thank the most important person, which is my friend Alex Solis. Thank you.
Dr. Robert Copeland is about to become a pillar of the turf. He is an extraordinary veterinarian, an equine surgeon, the very best. What the video won't say about Dr. Copeland is that anytime you walk around the backstretch and you see Doc and his pal, Randy, coming towards you, you know you're going to feel better and you're going to have a big smile and a laugh. Special person.
Dr. Robert Copeland had been a veterinary school graduate for only a little more than a year when he spearheaded the creation of one of American racing's most impactful horse care initiatives. In December 1954, Dr. Copeland and 2 colleagues organized a gathering that established the American Association of Equine Practitioners in Louisville, Kentucky. Dr. Copeland was one of 11 vets in attendance at the foundational meeting, where a constitution for the organization was written and adopted, and history was made. Dr. Copeland's father was a newspaper editor at the Cincinnati Times-Star. After being discharged from the Army in 1945, Dr. Copeland decided to follow in his father's footsteps and study journalism at Ohio State. But those plans changed quickly, and he decided to follow a new path into the school's veterinary program. He became enamored with horses and spent the summers of his college years as an exercise rider at Beulah Park and Darby Dan Farm in Ohio. Dr. Copeland eventually made his way to Calumet Farm in Kentucky, where he broke yearlings and assisted the farm vet, among other duties. One of the horses he worked with at Calumet was Hill Gale, who went on to win the 1952 Kentucky Derby. After his graduation from Ohio State, Dr. Copeland worked as a track vet at several racetracks and opened his own practice in Paris, Kentucky. His skills as a surgeon were renowned, and he became a go-to practitioner. During his career, Dr. Copeland provided veterinary care for 16 Kentucky Derby winners, including 1973 Triple Crown winner Secretariat, as well as hundreds of additional Derby starters among thousands of horses he treated. Dr. Copeland became a pioneer in equine joint surgery at his hospital at Sunnyside Farm. He developed and enhanced procedures that enabled the veterinary profession to address and solve problems which formerly were without solution. One of Dr. Copeland's most famous success stories was Hall of Famer Susan's Girl, who suffered a broken sesamoid in 1974 after 2 championship seasons. Following surgery performed by Dr. Copeland and more than 7 months of rehabilitation, Susan's Girl made it back to the races late in 1974. She returned to top form the following year, winning the Eclipse Award for Champion Older Mare for a campaign in which she made 17 starts and won or placed 14 times. Susan's Girl won 5 graded stakes after the surgery and became the first filly or mare raced exclusively in the United States to surpass $1 million in career earnings. She was inducted into the Hall of Fame in 1976. Fred Hooper, who owned Susan's Girl, later bred the mare to Tri-Jet. The result was a bay colt that Hooper named Copeland in the doctor's honor. Copeland won in succession the Sanford Stakes, Hopeful Stakes, Futurity Stakes, and Champagne Stakes as a juvenile in 1982. Along with his work at racetracks and his private practice, Dr. Copeland also notably became a key bloodstock advisor to William T. Young and his Overbrook Farm breeding and racing operation. It was Dr. Copeland's suggestion that Young hired the up-and-coming D. Wayne Lucas as his trainer. For Overbrook, Lucas saddled numerous graded stakes winners, including Breeders' Cup Classic winner Cat Thief and Kentucky Derby winner Grindstone. Lucas praised Dr. Copeland for the work he did on Grindstone. Dr. Copeland and Dr. Larry Bramlage together performed arthroscopic surgery on Grindstone's front knees and ankles in August 1995. On the first Saturday in May the following year, Grindstone became a Kentucky Derby winner. Bob Copeland was responsible for Grindstone winning the Kentucky Derby, Lucas said. Never would have happened without him. He's a perfectionist and remarkable in everything he does. Dr. Copeland earned numerous accolades for his work, including the Ohio State University Distinguished Alumnus Award in 1978, the Kentucky Association of Equine Practitioners Distinguished Veterinarian Award in 2000, and he was selected as the Thoroughbred Club of America's honor guest in 2007.
Dr. Copeland can't be with us today, but we are planning a presentation at a future date for him in Kentucky. But we do have a personal appearance from Dr. Bob Copeland.
Good morning. God willing, on September the 2nd, I will celebrate 100 years. Since my earliest days, I have loved the horse. From those pony rides at Coney Island to my grandparents' workhorse, which I would run alongside, reach up and get his mane and swing up on his back. And then an exercise boy at Beulah Park and Calumet Farm, to the racetrack veterinarian, to the equine surgeon. All these years I've loved the horse. Horses and all the many people associated with them brings me here today to thank the National Museum of Racing and Hall of Fame for the honor of being named Pillar of the Turf. I am humbled to be invited to join this illustrious group, and I appreciate greatly this extraordinary recognition. In closing, I've a brief story for you. Each morning as I entered the Mr. Street gate in the Fairgrounds racetrack, I would see my first client, Mr. Harold Raines, a trainer at the racetrack. Good morning, Mr. Raines. Hello, Doc. How's everything, I'd ask. And he would say, everything is Francois on the backside. And so it remains. Everything is Francois on the backside. God bless us all. Thank you.
Accepting this award for Dr. Copeland is Larry Bramlage, his colleague, fellow veterinarian.
Well, it's appropriate that he ended his talk with a story. For those of you that knew him, he was full of them. But as an exercise rider, a regulatory veterinarian, an attending veterinarian, a veterinary surgeon, farm owner, advisor to Mr. Young, he was certainly a pillar of the turf. But in 1954, when those 11 people met in the Brown Hotel in Louisville, their purpose was to improve the reputation and reality of practice on the backside for the horse. And from those 11 pillars have come the 10,000-member AAEP, which now reaches branches into all aspects of equine medicine and surgery. As you all also probably know, he was a pillar of the Ohio State University. He was an alumni there and still regards Ohio State as one of his biggest assets. But he befriended a young group of faculty members at Ohio State, which included Dr. Reed and myself, and he was a pillar of integrity for us. It was not so much what would Dr. Copeland do, but what would Dr. Copeland think of what we are doing? You saw that silver tray that was in the video. For 10 years, I spent 1 week of the spring and fall meet with Dr. Copeland every year. We would treat horses in the morning and do surgery in the afternoon, have dinner in the evening. It was the start of a close friendship, and Dr. Reed, several other of us remain in his legion today. Before HISA, before regulatory veterinarians were a reality, Dr. Copeland taught me it was okay to say no. No, we won't do this to one of the world's greatest middle distance athletes. Or no, this horse shouldn't run. He was a pillar of my career, but more important, part of the foundation. And I'm honored today to stand here as his representative of the pillar of the turf to get this award.
Another very deserving pillar of the turf, a quiet, very dignified man, Prince Khalid bin Abdullah. He may have been quiet and low-key, but his stable spoke in big terms.
A native of Saudi Arabia, Prince Khalid bin Abdullah's introduction to racing came on a trip to Longchamp in France with friends in 1956. The prince, however, did not get involved with the sport in an ownership capacity until the late 1970s. His purchases of yearlings at that time heralded the start of the large-scale investment in horse racing by owners from the Middle East that transformed the sport. Prince Khalid earned his first win as an owner with Charming Native at Windsor in England in May 1979. 3 years later, he had his first homebred winner with Fine Edge at Newmarket. In 1985, Rainbow Quest won the Prix de l'Arc de Triomphe for the prince's biggest victory up to that time. The following year, Dancing Brave repeated the owner's success in the Arc, and also won the 2000 Guineas, the King George VI, and Queen Elizabeth Stakes. Prince Khalid's Juddmonte breeding operation began to thrive in the mid-1980s. Homebred Warning soon came along and won the 1988 Queen Elizabeth II Stakes at Ascot and became Europe's champion miler that year. Juddmonte Farms, which Prince Khalid established in 1980, became an iconic brand through his visionary leadership. Under the Juddmonte banner, Prince Khalid won more than 500 stakes races worldwide, including 118 Grade 1 or Group 1 victories, 102 of which were with homebreds. In Europe, his Juddmonte runners won 21 Cartier Racing Awards, including Horse of the Year honors for Frankel in 2011 and 2012, Kingman in 2014, and Enable in 2017 and 2019. Prince Khalid's accomplishments in racing are simply staggering, as Juddmonte earned 5 Eclipse Awards for Outstanding Breeder and 4 Eclipse Awards for Outstanding Owner. In the United States, Juddmonte bred and raced 2001 Kentucky Oaks winner Flute and 2003 Belmont Stakes winner Empire Maker, among others. Juddmonte sent out 7 Breeders' Cup winners under Prince Khalid's ownership, including 2016 Classic winner Arrogate, who went on to be elected to the Hall of Fame. Other Breeders' Cup winners included 3 in the filly and mare turf: Banks Hill in 2001, Intercontinental in 2005, and Midday in 2009. In 2018, when Enable captured the turf, Juddmonte also had mile winner Expert Eye. Rounding out the group is 2008 filly and mare sprint winner Ventura. All but Arrogate were homebreds. Prince Khalid went on to win all 5 British Classic races with homebred horses. Quest for Fame became Juddmonte's first Epsom Derby winner in 1990, followed by Commander-in-Chief in 1993, and Workforce, who broke the course record at Epsom with his Derby victory in 2010. Juddmonte also bred a clean sweep of French Classic winners, including Rail Link in the Prix de l'Arc de Triomphe in 2006, a success repeated by Workforce in 2010 and Enable in 2017 and 2018. In North America, Prince Khalid's Eclipse Award champion mares included Ryafan, Banks Hill, and Intercontinental. Juddmonte's champion Arrogate won the 2016 Travers Stakes in record time and went on to win the Breeders' Cup Classic, inaugural Pegasus World Cup, and Dubai World Cup to retire with record earnings of $17.4 million and earn induction into the Hall of Fame. Flintshire joined Arrogate as 2016 Eclipse Award winners for Juddmonte. Juddmonte's success was keyed by the remarkable broodmare band Prince Khalid cultivated through decades of dedication and patience. Under his ownership, Juddmonte owned 6 horses honored as Broodmare of the Year in America or England. What stands out for me is the interest he took in every detail. Nobody did anything for him without him saying yes or no, said Dr. John Chandler, president of Juddmonte's American operation. He took advice, but he made every decision on matings. He knew more about his horses individually than any owner I ever knew. Prince Khalid passed away in 2021.
And accepting for Prince Khalid is Douglas Erskine Crum, Juddmonte Stable. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Well done.
On behalf of the late Prince Khalid's family, thank you for this singular and very special honor. But the story is not just about horses, it's about people as well. And Dr. John Chandler has been the strategic linchpin since 1979 and president of Juddmonte USA for over 3 decades. Garrett O'Rourke has been the operational mastermind since 1992, physically on the ground for the birth, development, and care of every homebred, the management of the training, of the arrangements with trainers. He is an outstanding and respected operator. But there are others who should be mentioned as well, who formed the engine room, if you like, of Juddmonte USA, like Pat O'Flynn, Jackie Smith, Stephen Dotsey, Andy Pansiera, Scott Walker, and of course the first-rate, outstanding staff in Kentucky. Prince Khalid also had, and Juddmonte still has, the most wonderful trainers. But there is one that stands out, and that is Bobby Frankel. The hugely successful partnership between Prince Khalid and Bobby Frankel was shown on many of the horses you saw behind you. And when Bobby passed away in November 2009, it was decided very bravely, if you think about it, to name a yearling after him. And the yearling was named Frankel and was sent to Henry Cecil, who himself had been through a very rough period, during which Prince Khalid was only one of very, very few owners to support him. Frankel retired, having won 14 races on the trot, unbeaten, the highest-rated thoroughbred racehorse in history. Henry Cecil died very shortly after Frankel had retired. And now Frankel is a remarkable stallion. It's an extraordinary story, but Prince Khalid was like that. For those who knew and worked for him, what shone out was his passion. He had very high standards, meticulous planning, attention to detail, and behind it all, a tremendous sense of humor and a real family man. Having been such a hugely successful businessman, racing and Juddmonte was indeed very fortunate that he turned his mind to thoroughbreds. And the transition has been seamless. Now his sons, Prince Fahad bin Khalid, Prince Saud bin Khalid, and Prince Ahmed bin Khalid have taken on the mantle. Prince Khalid was a very, very special person, and his show goes on. Thank you.
Joseph E. Widener, pillar of the turf. He was a philanthropist, an art connoisseur, titan of the sport, and his influence, as you will see, still felt.
Joseph Early Widener's greatest passions were fine art and thoroughbred racing. Whether it was cultivating one of the world's most prestigious art collections or committing to racing as an owner, breeder, and visionary leader, Widener went all in, leaving behind a monumental legacy in his beloved pastimes. Born in Philadelphia in 1871, Widener was the sole heir of a reported $60 million fortune and a growing fine art collection after his father, Peter A. B. Widener, died in 1915. Educated at the University of Pennsylvania and Harvard, Widener, at the age of 18, dipped his toe in thoroughbred racing with the purchase of 2 horses, neither of whom became notable runners. He proceeded to build a stable focused on steeplechasers in the 1890s and early 1900s. Coinciding with his developing equity in the sport, Widener was elected to the Jockey Club in 1909. When racing briefly shut down in New York in 1911 and 1912, Widener went to France and established a breeding farm there. He raced throughout Europe and maintained the farm in France until the outbreak of World War II. In 1923, Widener and a nephew, George D. Widener Jr., purchased the famous Elmendorf farm property near Lexington, Kentucky, and both men established individual breeding operations there. Joseph kept the Elmendorf name, while George named his parcel Old Kenny Farm. When August Belmont II died in 1924, Joseph Widener purchased 64 mares, 36 weanlings, and 3 stallions from the dispersal sale. The highlight of the sale for Widener was his $100,000 acquisition of the stallion Fair Play, who became the leading sire in North America in 1927 for the 3rd time. Fair Play, inducted into the Hall of Fame in 1956, went on to become the top broodmare sire in 1931, 1934, and 1938. Widener campaigned numerous standouts, including 3 homebred winners of the Belmont Stakes: Chance Shot in 1927, Hurry Off in 1933, and Peace Chance in 1934. Widener's steeplechasers, trained by Hall of Famer J. Howard Lewis, included Hall of Famers Bushranger and Fairmount, among 12 total jump champions. Widener bred a total of 79 stakes winners, including flat champion Polynesian, who won the 1945 Preakness for Widener's son, Peter A.B. Widener II, and sired Hall of Famer Native Dancer. After Belmont's death, Widener became president of the Westchester Racing Association, which operated Belmont Park. He went on to purchase Hialeah Park in 1929 and set out on a course to make the Miami track a premier destination for winter racing. Widener quickly reimagined Hialeah, hiring a top architect to design a new grandstand and clubhouse facilities, along with landscaped gardens of native flora and fauna and a lake in the infield that Widener stocked with flamingos. With bookmakers ruled off in Florida in 1931, Widener purchased an Australian totalizer and introduced parimutuel wagering. The upgrades and enhanced purses enticed the best stables in the East to establish their winter bases at Hialeah. Under Widener's leadership, Hialeah became one of the most popular and important racetracks in the world. Widener also advocated for the parimutuel system to be adopted in New York, which became a reality in 1940. Attendance and wagering at both Belmont and Hialeah increased significantly as a result of Widener's efforts. Failing health forced Widener to step down from his top roles at Belmont and Hialeah in 1939, but he remained an influential figure in the sport until his death in 1943. Prior to his death, Widener gifted the National Gallery of Art in Washington, D.C., the greatest private collection in America, 101 paintings that had an estimated value of more than $50 million. Following Widener's death, a fountain was installed at Hialeah in his honor, featuring 4 simple bronze plaques with the words Architecture, Art, Humanity, and Sportsmanship. Both the art world and thoroughbred racing had lost one of their greatest benefactors. Turf and Sport Digest described Widener as the most conspicuous figure in the promotion of American racing.
And accepting is Cordy Wetherill, Joe Widener's great-grandson. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everybody. On behalf of Joseph and our entire family, we are deeply grateful for this extraordinary honor and for the recognition of a life dedicated to the thoroughbred and the sport he loved. We also extend our congratulations to this year's fellow inductees. It is a privilege to celebrate the people and horses whose passion and dedication have enriched the sport of racing for generations. Joseph had an incredibly competitive spirit. I might imagine the first question he might have had today would be, how did my brother George get in before me? As Joseph's great-great-grandson, while I never had the chance to meet him, I have grown up surrounded by his legacy. His love for horses and racing became a passion passed down through generations, inspiring our family to continue pursuing excellence and creating their own lasting contributions to the sport. His son, P.A.B. Widener II, continued the tradition by campaigning the homebred Polynesian, winner of the 1945 Preakness. That passion was carried forward by my grandparents, Ella Widener and Courtwright Wetherill, who bred at thoroughbreds at Happy Hill Farm in Pennsylvania and at their home in France. Among the exceptional horses they bred were Raisin Native, one of the most influential sires in thoroughbred history, and Kingmaker, a Whitney champion. My father, Courtwright Wetherill Jr., continued the family tradition by racing both steeplechase and flat horses for many years before turning their focus to thoroughbred breeding. His horse, not a cat but a llama, was named New York's best bred 3-year-old in 2013. My uncle Peter continued our family equestrian legacy through both thoroughbred racing and show jumping. His greatest achievement came as the owner of Cedric, who won an Olympic gold for Team USA at the 2008 Beijing Summer Olympics. As for me, I found my passion in show jumping. I was fortunate to compete successfully both domestically and abroad, ultimately achieving a top 150 world ranking. And perhaps one day my beautiful wife Liz and I will continue this tradition through thoroughbred breeding or racing. And if we do, we will become the sixth generation of our family to carry forward the passion and legacy that Joseph set forth more than a century ago. While Joseph's accomplishments on the racetrack are what bring us here today, they tell only part of his story. He was also a passionate collector of art and a man who believed deeply in preserving beauty and history for future generations. For our family, Linwood Hall has always held a special place in our history. The Widener family home in Elkins Park, Pennsylvania, built by Joseph's father, Peter A.B. Widener, remains the second largest surviving Gilded Age mansion in the United States and was home to the private art collection. In the early 40s, as a tribute to his father, Joseph donated more than 2,000 works to the newly established National Gallery of Art in Washington. The collection included masterpieces by Raphael, Bellini, Rembrandt, Vermeer, and Donatello. To this day, Joseph's extraordinary donation remains one of the defining contributions to the National Gallery of Art, forming a cornerstone of its collection and carrying forward his belief that art should be accessible to all. It is especially meaningful to see Joseph's legacy come full circle through the restoration of Linwood Hall. Through the efforts of the Linwood Hall Preservation Foundation, this landmark is being brought back to life. I would like to recognize my friend Edward Tome, the Foundation's Executive Director, who is here with us today. Edward's dedication to preserving this important part of our family's legacy is something which we are deeply grateful for. The bloodlines Joseph developed at Elmendorf continue to influence modern pedigrees, but his greatest legacy extends beyond the horses themselves. It lives in his commitment to excellence, his dedication to the sport, and his belief that success carries with it a responsibility to give back. Standing here in Saratoga makes this honor very meaningful to me. This is a place where generations of my family have gathered, where memories have been created, and where our shared love of horses and racing have been strengthened year after year. On behalf of our family, I thank the National Museum of Racing and Hall of Fame for this extraordinary honor. Thank you.
G. Watts Humphrey, Jr., owner, breeder, now pillar of the turf. The green and white blocks on their silks have made their presence felt for many decades, as you shall see.
G. Watts Humphrey, Jr. was born into an Ohio family with strong ties to thoroughbred racing and breeding. His paternal grandfather, George M. Humphrey, was a prominent horse owner who served as Secretary of the Treasury under President Dwight D. Eisenhower. Humphrey and his wife Sally raised their thoroughbreds on the fringe of the famed bluegrass region at the 1,000-acre Shawnee Farm near Harrodsburg, Kentucky, 30 miles southwest of Lexington. The farm, which dates back to the 18th century and is older than the state it is located in, was purchased by Humphrey's aunt, Pansy Poe, in 1938. Humphrey purchased the farm from Poe's estate after her death in 1979. He had previously spent several summers working for his aunt at Shawnee. Humphrey earned a bachelor's degree from Yale and an MBA from Harvard. After graduation from Yale and before Harvard, he served in the U.S. Marine Corps for 3.5 years, earning the rank of First Lieutenant Infantry Company Commander. While enlisted in the Marines, Humphrey earned the Silver Star, Bronze Star, Navy Commendation Medal, and 3 Purple Hearts for his Marine service. Humphrey's racing stable has traditionally focused on fillies that have been channeled back into his breeding operation. Top runners for his stable have included Grade 1 winners Center Court, Clear Mandate, and Personal Diary, as well as multiple graded stakes winners Frivolous, Ray de Cafe, and Communique, among others. Hall of Fame member Genuine Risk was bred by Sally Humphrey and raised at Shawnee Farm. In 1980, she became only the second filly to win the Kentucky Derby, 65 years after Regret accomplished the feat. Racing for Bert and Diana Firestone, Genuine Risk also finished second in both the Preakness and Belmont. In 1985, Creme Fraiche added the Belmont Stakes to the Humphrey family's list of accomplishments. Elizabeth Moran's Brushwood stable raced the gelded son of Rich Cream, whom Watts Humphrey co-bred with his aunt, Pamela H. Furman. In 1999, the Keeneland Association honored Humphrey with the Mark of Distinction. In October 2011, he achieved a unique double as a thoroughbred owner and partner in the St. Louis Cardinals when he earned the leading owner title at the Keeneland Fall meeting one day after watching the Cardinals win the World Series. Humphrey's consistent success on the track has resulted in 8 leading owner titles at Keeneland, where he ranks in the top 10 in all-time wins by an owner. One of the sport's most dedicated leaders, Watts Humphrey has served racing with distinction in various capacities, with more than 20 years on the board of Churchill Downs, including a stint as chairman. He has also been a director of the Keeneland Association, served 4 terms as a steward of the Jockey Club, and held several senior positions with the Breeders' Cup, among others. Humphrey has also held roles with the American Horse Council, Blood Horse Magazine, National Museum of Racing and Hall of Fame, and National Thoroughbred Racing Association, among others. He was the Thoroughbred Club of America's honored guest in 2017.
And accepting on behalf of their father is Vicki Oliver, Watts Humphrey IV.
Okay. Gonna have to put the glasses on. Gotten to that age. Good morning, everybody. It is amazing to see all the familiar faces around here. I've been coming here to Saratoga for over 40 years, thanks to my mom and dad. But on behalf of my father, G. Watts Humphrey Jr., my mother, Sally Humphrey, my 2 sisters behind me, and our entire family, thank you. We're truly honored to accept this award on Dad's behalf. I can't think of a more fitting place to celebrate him than Saratoga Springs. In our eyes, and in the eyes of many, so many in this industry, this is a well-deserved recognition of a lifetime devoted to thoroughbred racing and breeding. Dad's love affair with horses began at an early age through his close relationship with his grandfather that you saw up there, George M. Humphrey. He has some funny stories with him, including playing golf with Ike, who at one point told him, "Call me Mr. President," on the first hole. Got to the second hole, he said, "Call me Ike." They got up to the 9th hole. Walking up to the green, he said, "Call me Mr. President." They got past 10th hole, 11th hole, he said, "You can call me Ike." In any event, that passion only grew when his aunt, our great Aunt Pansy, purchased Shawnee Farm. And then in 1979, as said, Dad purchased the farm from her and built it into one of the premier racing and breeding operations in the industry. Throughout the years, he was fortunate to partner with remarkable people, including Aunt Pansy, Aunt Pammy, Pamela Furman, who was an incredible woman, my sister Vicki, his longtime friend Will Farish, and many others. Together, the iconic green and white silks became a familiar sight in winter circles across America. Along the way came extraordinary horses: Genuine Risk, Creme Fraiche, Dream Deal, Clear Mandate, Sacoista, Victory Ride, Center Court, and many more. And I should add, none of that would have been possible without my mom, Sally, who has been his partner every step of the way. But today isn't just about the horses or the victories, it's about the man behind them. I'm often reminded of Theodore Roosevelt's advice: speak softly and carry a big stick. That has always described my father perfectly. He led young men in the jungles of Vietnam. He led companies, he led organizations throughout the thoroughbred industry, and in every role, he earned respect, not because he demanded it, but because he lived by quiet confidence, integrity, and thoughtful leadership. Dad has always had a few sayings or quips he liked to share at just the right moment. One of my favorites is, "He who spouts loudest gets harpooned. His point was simple. Don't be the first to speak, listen first, think carefully, then speak with purpose. Those are principles he carried with him while helping lead organizations such as the Breeders' Cup, the Jockey Club, and Churchill Downs. Wherever he served, he left the organization stronger than he found it. Dad, we are incredibly proud of you and deeply grateful that your lifelong dedication to this sport has been recognized in this way. I'll close with another of your favorite sayings, this one from your former Little League coach, Satchel Paige. Don't look back, boys. They may be gaining. Congratulations, Dad. We love you. Thank you, and God bless.
Wow, what an honor this is for my father, and my opinion, so well deserved. My father has been in the horse business for over 60 years in so many disciplines. He has been an owner, a breeder, and serving on numerous boards, and a mentor to many, including myself. He has developed Shawnee Farm from a small cattle farm to a very successful thoroughbred breeding and racing operation. A testament to his many achievements and impact in the industries, how many of you are here today to celebrate this award with him? I remember at a young age, we would take walks together, and I'd pick his brain about racing. I recall him teaching me all the poles on the racetracks, the 8th pole, the quarter pole, the 16th pole. As my brother, my sister, and myself can recall him taking us to the track in the early mornings, regardless of what we had done the night before. He would tell us, you can go to bed as late as you want, but when I leave this track at 5 a.m., I expect you to be downstairs ready to go. Fortunately, we'd all be there, but often in body only. As I got older, he would take me around the sales and teach me the conformation and pedigree of a horse. And as I learned, he would then let me be part of the selecting team, which this day I value tremendously. He taught me to communicate with people, and most importantly, taught me to be honest and upfront. These are two of the lessons I've always cherished. While there are some today just as dedicated to the horse industry as my father, in my opinion, none are more dedicated than he. His insight and visions of the future for our industry have been like no other that I know. In my 30 years of working for and with him, he has predicted so many things that are now happening in the industry today, a few examples to date. He predicted that our racetracks would start to see shorter race meets, that they would be considered boutique meets, and at these meets, there would be increased purses and high level of racing. We are seeing this happening now. He also sadly predicted that the industry would get too diluted and that there would be several tracks that would not survive. Boy, was he right. But he's always stayed so positive and has continued to support the industry. If I had one wish, I wish for him to be young again and help us through the tough times we are in right now. To me, he is the man that can fix anything, if not, at least make it better than it is currently. His time on the Churchill board as a board member and chairman have made a positive impact in our industry today. While serving on these many boards, he has also enjoyed developing his own breeding and racing program. I have been so fortunate to be a partner in many of his endeavors. We have bought many horses together and have had so much fun doing it. I have been so blessed to have trained for someone who is so loyal, so honest, and of such high integrity. When I graduated from college, I was uncertain of whether I wanted to pursue my career in this business. He made me work in all aspects of the industry. I started with blacksmith, vets, and then moved to working for the racing offices, and then working for trainers. If not for him, I would not be where I am today. He has been such a loyal person to all family and friends. Rusty and Sarah have trained for my father for over 30 years. I bet it's a small count of how many other people in this industry can say the same thing. He hires team members and hopes to create a team that will all work together. Look at us now. He has given me some of my best friends with this team. Rusty and Sarah are part of the family and always will be. He created a team where everyone wants to excel together. This is a far better team to be on. I hope in my heart there will be a younger generation that will have the loyalty, sense, and patience that my dad has continued to give to this industry. Let's not lose sight of how much we love those horses in this industry, because God knows he surely does. He has contributed to our business so deeply, yet often so silently. Along with his service to the industry, he has also served in many other industries and has proudly served our country. To any who do not know, he served in Vietnam as a first lieutenant in the Marine Corps and received 3 Purple Hearts and the Bronze Star. So congratulations to my dad, Watts Humphrey, a true horseman and a well-deserved honoree. I know he truly appreciates this acknowledgement of his extraordinary life.
Congratulations. And I had a senior moment there. They're not green and white blocks, they're green and white diamonds. To say that this is a bittersweet day for the Clement family is an understatement. Christophe was taken way, way too soon and cut short abruptly a brilliant career.
Christophe Clement's impact on American thoroughbred racing was immediate, significant, consistent, and enduring. A native of Paris, France, Clement announced his presence with authority by winning with his first starter in the United States, sending out Spectaculaire to victory at Belmont Park on October 20th, 1991. Clement, as the saying goes, was off and running. Throughout a career that spanned 35 years, Clement developed a reputation as a master horseman, training the winners of 2,576 races with purse earnings of more than $184 million. Clement's lengthy list of accomplishments included 286 graded stakes victories. At the Grade 1 level, he won multiple editions of the Beverly D, Del Mar Oaks, Diana Handicap, Manhattan Handicap, Man o' War, Turf Mile, and Sword Dancer. Clement thrived as a turf conditioner. He won 34 of his 41 Grade 1 victories on the grass, including 7 with Gio Ponti, who earned more than $6 million and was voted the Eclipse Award for Champion Grass Horse in 2009 and 2010, and Champion Older Horse in 2009. Pizza Bianca, owned by celebrity chef Bobby Flay, won the 2021 Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies Turf for Clement. Although best known for his prowess on the turf, Clement had several top-level wins on dirt. In 2014, he sent out Tonalist, owned by Robert S. Evans, to win the Belmont, thwarting the Triple Crown bid of future Hall of Famer California Chrome. Tonalist went on to defeat Elders in the Jockey Club Gold Cup that October, repeated in the race in 2015, and added another Grade 1 on the dirt in the 2015 Cigar Mile. In total, Clement trained 24 individual Grade 1 winners and 22 horses who earned $1 million or more. The 2024 Sword Dancer, won by the Clement-trained Far Bridge, was the 41st and final Grade 1 win for the trainer. Racing lost one of its most significant figures less than a year later when Clement died at the age of 59 on May 24, 2025, succumbing to a rare eye cancer. In a prepared statement from Clement posted on his stable's social media accounts following his death, the trainer said, "As I reflect on my journey, I realize I never worked a day in my life. Every morning, I woke up and did what I loved most, surrounded by so much love. This journey started with my wife Valerie and 6 horses. Being a racehorse trainer is far more than a profession. Horses have brought me fulfillment, friends, and such wonderful memories." Clement's consistency was a hallmark of his career, as he ranked among the top 10 North American trainers by earnings 8 times. Clement had his best statistical year in 2024, with career-high earnings of $12.7 million, wins at 15 different tracks, and 14 graded victories. Christophe Clement's legacy will be recognized annually by the New York Racing Association each summer at Saratoga Racecourse. Beginning in 2026, the Grade 1 Sword Dancer Invitational will henceforth be named the Christophe Clement Turf. Clement's 5 wins in the Sword Dancer are the most of any trainer in the race's 51-year history. NYRA President and CEO David O'Rourke said Clement was a kind and generous man who made lasting contributions to the fabric of racing in New York.
And accepting on behalf of Christophe is his family, his wife Valerie. No Miguel? No Charlotte? Come. There they are.
My little glasses. Thank you, Christophe. What a beautiful ride. His immediate thoughts would certainly go to his mentors, the special people who shaped him, challenged him, and believed in him way before the racing world knew his name. Alec and Gillen Head in France, Hall of Famer Shug Magehi in United States, and Luca and Sarah Kumani in England, whose knowledge and guidance gave him the courage to chase his dream in a new continent. Now let's travel back to 1991. We arrived with Miguel, just a few months old, and just a few horses. And we were welcomed with open arms. We certainly had a very strong accent. I don't have it anymore. Culturally often different. I think Hall of Fame, Billy Mott could confirm that. But it was the start of a camaraderie that throughout the years grew into friendship, and many became our US family. In 2025, when it was time for Christophe to leave us, he gave me 5 names of special people to trust if we were going to need some guidance. It's never easy to leave your family behind far too early. And I didn't think much of it at first, but I look back and realize the 5 names he gave us were 5 American people. What a testimony to a beautiful immigration story. I just want to reassure the 5, because some of them are here. I will not be calling often. Christophe viewed himself as a conductor, blessed to have talented musicians. He was very proud of his team, the CC tribe, the wonderful people he surrounded himself with. I'm naming Christophe Loriel, who was by his side for us over 30 years. And we have to add the interns from all over the world who learned the profession around him. He certainly expected a lot, monitored their growth, believed in them, and when ready, they would leave us and fly away. Basically, we got the worst years. But it was also a symbiotic relationship, as Christophe was always learning from young people, looking at the future of racing and envisioning tomorrow. I am often asked 2 questions that I will try to honor. I've been asked many times this year to share Christophe's favorite horse and confidentially his favorite owner. Well, I'm going to be courageous. I will answer that. Christophe is now trembling, and Miguel is thinking how to cut off this microphone. So many wonderful owners with us for many years. To list their names, we would all be here tonight with gratitude and fun stories. I will spare you that. And so I will stick with only one special group, the professional, the trainers abroad who would choose him to train their horses in United States. They give him an immense pleasure, an immense pride. Mrs. Aleked, François Boutin, Luca Coumani, and others. But there's a name that is worth sharing, a Hall of Famer. Going back a few years ago, Christophe, arriving in America, had to learn to share. To share a barn in Saratoga is never easy. And it didn't go too well with this gentleman. And he seems to not get any better through the weeks. It was amplifying. I was told, unsure if true, that even one day arrived some cones to cut the shadow in half. Sadly, this gentleman passed away, but he requested his older daughter to contact Christophe to send the horses he owns to him. What a surprise. Christophe was immensely touched, and it was the start of a relationship with his daughters. His name is P.J. Johnson, Hall of Famer P.J. Johnson. It shows a certain side behind the scene, the respect some professionals have for each other. Now, let's tackle the favorite horse. The list is quite long, and the answer is January 1st. Whoops, that's better. While everyone seemed to celebrate, January 1st has a special language for horse trainers. It is the day all the past performances are wiped and everyone needs to prove themselves all over again. So it's mean also there's no time to look back, to admire your past victories, and instead to be well grounded in the present and start to dream about the future. So Christophe's favorite horses, he was the one in his barn that day that will be promising. Only at the very end, Christophe traveled back to all his victories, feeling an immense gratitude for all the success he had. But basically, while he was training, he was never looking back. He was always looking at tomorrow and dreaming big, and that was probably the way every single trainer seemed to live, because January 1st come back every year. Now, I would like to speak about something a little bit different than the number of wins, because all that would be listed. There is a video, and there's also Wikipedia and a lot of places you will have all the magnificent horses he had. Victories are the measure of success in our sport, no doubt. May I please invite you to look further. Apart from the horses, of course, what is uniquely beautiful is our racing community. Endlessly, immensely, and forever grateful for the immense support we receive from so many of you here during a cruel time, facing a 7-month timer to find a cure for race cancer. Our entire family, including our team, rallied around Christophe in an admirable way. Charlotte, full of love, left her job to work on research, surrounded as well by many of our owners who were present, offering the help of their private doctors. Some, even so generously, put money aside for a vaccine. Christophe felt loved, so loved. It was just... I promise not to cry. It was just so beautiful to watch, and it is imprinted in our heart forever. And we just want to add thank you for your presence during this terrible time in our lives. We have promised to stay strong, going forward with his many dreams. Now it's time o'clock. It means time to embrace your dreams. Cross your ocean. Don't stay ashore. Christophe left us far too young, but he asked us, enjoy life every single day. Thank you.
For generations upon generations upon generations, Claiborne Farm has been doing the usual, unusually well. And today, Seth Hancock becomes a pillar of the turf.
Seth Hancock was just a few days shy of his 24th birthday when his father, Claiborne Farm leader Arthur Bull Hancock Jr., died at the age of 62 in September 1972. Seth Hancock found himself with big shoes to fill, and he proved more than up to the challenge. For more than 40 years, Hancock confirmed he was a worthy choice to guide his family's revered Claiborne legacy. The farm, based near Paris, Kentucky, had earned a multi-generational reputation as one of the most prominent and respected breeding farms in the world. The task placed before young Seth Hancock was a significant one. Although he assumed the reins at Claiborne at a young age, Hancock was prepared for the role and the challenges that came with it. A University of Kentucky graduate, he brought an agriculture degree to what was intended as a lengthy course of working in the various divisions of the farm. Hancock quickly demonstrated his horsemanship when he purchased Judger as a yearling from his father's dispersal in 1972. The colt raced for Hancock and won the 1974 Florida Derby and Bluegrass Stakes. And then came the farm's relationship with Secretariat, a colt bred by the Meadow stud of Virginian Christopher Chinnery, a longtime Claiborne client. While Chinnery's daughter, Penny Tweedy, was leading the family racing stable through the transition from father to daughter, homebred 2-year-old champion Secretariat was positioned for greatness. Meadow stud estate financial issues, however, required a cash infusion. Hancock stepped up and syndicated Secretariat's breeding rights for $6 million, an astounding figure at the time. Bull Hancock's estate plans called for a return to the commercial sales market rather than distributing the annual foal crop into closely held partnerships. Seth Hancock carried out those wishes effectively. In 1976, he sold Wajima at the Keeneland July sale for a record $600,000. He followed that up with a $1.3 million sale-topping Northern Dancer colt at the 1978 Keeneland July sale, the second highest price ever for a yearling to that date. Named Nureyev, the Claiborne bred went on to racing success in Europe and later became one of the best sons of Northern Dancer at stud. Hancock wielded influence in ways that did not always put his name down as a breeder. It was he who suggested to Ben Castleman that he send his mare My Charmer to the modestly priced Claiborne stallion Bold Reasoning. The result was Seattle Slew, who brought only $17,500 as a yearling, but became the first undefeated Triple Crown winner and an impactful stallion. Hancock added his own chapters to his family's knack for acquiring future star stallions, including Danzig, Mr. Prospector, and Unbridled. Homebreds Pulpit and 49er also joined the elite rosters standing at Claiborne during Seth Hancock's tenure. Claiborne reached a milestone when homebred Swale carried the stable colors to victory in the 1984 Kentucky Derby and Belmont Stakes before his untimely passing shortly after the Belmont. Swale was voted the Eclipse Award for Outstanding 3-year-old Male, and his earnings helped Claiborne reach the top spot among North American breeders with earnings of $5.5 million that season. In Hancock's 40-plus years running the farm, he guided the operation through significant changes in the sport and industry. One was the creation of the Breeders' Cup in 1984. Hancock gave the program an important endorsement by signing up Claiborne to provide income from stallion seasons, a key source of Breeders' Cup funding. Claiborne homebred Lure, a Hall of Famer, was twice a Breeders' Cup winner for the farm. Hancock was the honored guest of the Thoroughbred Club of America's annual testimonial dinner in 2000. 10 years later, Claiborne was presented with an Eclipse Award of Merit. Hancock has also served the sport in various leadership roles, including as a Keeneland trustee and Jockey Club member. In 2015, Seth Hancock passed the leadership baton at Claiborne to his son, Seth Walker Hancock, Jr.
Seth Hancock.
Well, they sure didn't save the best for last, did they? I want to start out by thanking the committee for including me in this year's list of inductees into the Hall of Fame. It's a terrific honor. And I also want to thank all my family for being here. It's a blessing. Watts was right. The old baseball pitcher, Satchel Paige, said, "Don't look back. Somebody might be gaining on you." But the only way that I can explain why I'm standing here today is by looking back. And in so doing, I would go back to 1910 when my grandfather, A.B. Hancock Sr., moved the thoroughbred operation from Ellerslie Stud in Virginia to Claiborne Farm in Kentucky. He put the farm on a very firm foundation and got the ball rolling. My father took over the running of the farm in the mid-40s and took it to even greater heights and made Claiborne into what it was and hopefully what it still is. There's a couple of very influential men in my life when I first took over, and the first would be Mr. Ogden Phipps. He taught me a lot about the horse business, taught me a lot about the life business. I remember one day one time we had an argument with a guy, and at the end of the day, it really didn't go our way. And I said, "Don't worry, Mr. Phipps, I'll get even with him." And that distinctive voice of his, he said, "Seth, don't ever get in a pen match with a skunk." Mr. William Hagen Perry was also very influential in my career. Starting out, he owned over 30 mares with my father, and I was green as grass, but he was very patient with me and let me learn on the fly. And when I did make mistakes, and I'm sure I made plenty, he was very indulgent of those. When Mr. Perry passed in '93, it was about the time Adele Dilsnyder was getting in the game, and she bought several interests of Mr. Perry's mares, and we started a partnership which is still going on today, almost 35 years later. She's been a loyal friend and a faithful client of Claiborne Farm. Been a lot of riders that have been influential in my career and my being here. The first would be Lafitte Pinkai, a great rider and a terrific human being. He rode Judger to the wins in the Bluegrass and the Florida Derby. He rode Swale to wins in the Kentucky Derby and the Belmont. And he rode 49er in the Haskell to a thrilling victory. And he was all set to ride 49er in the Travers, and he hurt his shoulder. He separated his shoulder the week of the race. We had to call on, not had to, we were lucky to be able to call on Chris McCarron. And he came over and rode 49er to another thrilling victory. To win the Travers was special. It was the only Travers that Woody Stevens ever won, and that meant the world to me. Eddie Maple was very instrumental in the careers of both Swale and 49er. He rode them both as 2-year-olds. He did a lot of the morning work on them, and he was as responsible as anybody for what they were as 2-year-olds and what they became later on. Julie Crone, we had a very difficult filly called Preach. She was hard to ride, but Julie could ride her. She got along great with her, won the Frizette on her. Mike Smith won back-to-back Breeders' Cups on Lure. And I want to mention the late Garrett Gomez. He rode Blame as a 4-year-old, and he obviously was aboard when Blame was fortunate enough to win the Breeders' Cup Classic at Churchill Downs. Obviously, to win a race like that is incredible. To beat who he beat was incredible. But the thing that impressed me most was Garrett had banged his shoulder up pretty good the day before, and there was some question as to whether he even be able to ride or not. But he showed the dedication and the determination that it takes to play this game. Whether you're a hot walker, a groom, a rider, a trainer, a breeder, or an owner, it's not an easy game, and it takes a lot of fortitude to play it, and everybody in this room knows that. So many trainers have helped me along the way. Going back to the beginning, the first would be Woody Stevens. He trained for my father, and he was special to me. He was more than a trainer. He was kind of like a best friend and a father rolled into one. And he trained Judger, he trained Swale, he trained 49er, he trained Endear, who won multiple graded stakes and became the Dam of Lure. In the early 80s, we wanted to expand our racing stable into Kentucky, and Steve Penrod was our yearling manager, and he had come to us from the racetrack from Mr. Whiteley, and he told me he wanted to go back to the track, and I said, well, Steve, we'll try to send you a few horses, get you started. And one of the first ones we sent him was Narrate, an Honest Pleasure filly. He won the Fall City with her, and she later became the Grand Dam of Pulpit. And he also developed Centra, who won the test here at Saratoga, and also won the Queen Elizabeth, the inaugural Queen Elizabeth at Keeneland, when the Queen herself was there to present the trophy. What a thrill that was. When Woody hung it up in the late 80s, we still wanted to maintain a presence in New York, and the Phipps family was gracious enough to let us send a couple of horses to Sugar McGahee. It's hard to believe, but those two horses turned out both to be Grade 1 winners. Preach won the Frizette, and as I mentioned, Lure won back-to-back Breeders' Cups. In the mid-90s, racing had gotten pretty strong in Kentucky, and we wanted to maintain a presence there. And as a matter of fact, really kind of bring all our stable there. And we hired Frankie Brothers as a private trainer, and in 5 short years, Frankie developed Oath to win the Spinaway here at Saratoga. He developed Pulpit to win the Bluegrass, and he developed Arch to be a Grade 1 winner. And this is a little known fact, but not only did Frankie train Arch, who was the sire of Blame, he trained Libel, who was the dam of Blame. He went so far as to even train the trainer of Blame, Al Stahl. And Al did a wonderful job for us in the years that he trained for us, developing Blame to be the champion 4-year-old, and other horses like Departing, who won 3 separate derbies at the age of 3. Bill Mott has had horses for us through the years, and he developed 3 Grade 1 winners for us. Among some other nice horses, they would be the horse that won the Woodford Reserve, the Pulpit horse, can't come up with his name right now, but he also developed Lee, who won the Don, and he developed the great filly Elate, who won the Alabama right here at Saratoga. This game's been good to me, obviously. I mean, it's been my life. I really don't know what else to say. I'm honored. I'm blessed. We all are to be in this business. It's a special business. And I thank the committee for choosing me for this honor. And there's not really much more that I can say than that. I thank all y'all for being here, and I thank the committee for choosing me to be a pillar of the turf. Thank you.
Well done, Seth. And there you have it. That is the class of 2026. Congratulations to everybody, to the horses, to the owners, the trainers, to the pillars of the turf, all of you who make our sport glorious. And don't forget the grooms and the backstretch workers, the exercise riders who keep it all in motion. So thank you all for being here. Be safe, be kind, and many winners to everybody.